Hey folks, Wednesday night was the top 6 on Season 2 of The X Factor. There were 2 themes this week. The first was Unplugged, which didn't really seem unplugged since most of them performed with a full band, but the singers weren't overpowered by the music and there weren't 20 dancers on stage doing backflips, so I guess by X Factor standards it was kinda unplugged. The second was the Pepsi Challenge, in which you at home got to decide the song choices, but there were only 3 songs to choose from for each of the contestants, so it's not like we had total control. So the song choices were still kind of blasé, but it wasn't too bad. At the beginning of the show, we found out that Mario Lopez got married over the weekend, so congratulations, Mario. I hope you have better chemistry with your wife than you do with your co-host. Anyway, on to the performances. First up is CeCe Frey. Her unplugged song was Lady Gaga's Edge of Glory. Now, CeCe was nervous about doing something acoustic since she's had some vocal issues in the past. Yeah, that's putting it mildly. She said if you have a vocal mistake, everybody's gonna hear it. Sweetheart, you are a vocal mistake. She admits that in the past she's used big productions to mask the fact that she isn't a very good singer, so without all the distractions, I was expecting this performance to be a total screechy mess. But to my surprise, I think it's the best she sounded all season. Now that's not to say that it was great, but if this were the first time I'd ever heard her, I might actually think that she had some potential. Unfortunately, this is not the first time we've ever heard her, so we know that this is the absolute best she can do. But she looked nice. She was sitting on the piano in a dress that showed off her getaway sticks. I mean, she looked very pretty. I didn't even mind the blonde hair as much as I usually do. Was that Mario Lopez that helped her off the piano after her performance? I don't know. Anyway, Reid said that he's starting to become a fan. Britney is not. She said at this point in the competition it should be great, and that was just good. And Simon thought it was too cabaret. CeCe's song for the Pepsi Challenge was Katy Perry's Part of Me. I knew 2 decent performances from CeCe Frey in one night was a little too much to hope for. First off, she looked like pure trash. Now, I have no doubt that her fans wanted her to wear the leopard spots this week, but I don't believe for a nanosecond that they wanted her to come out on stage looking like a streetwalker with an early bird special. I mean, if those Daisy Dukes had been an inch higher up her ass, she would have needed a colonoscopy just so we could see them. She looked just a mess, and she sounded just as bad. It was hilariously bad, though. I gotta say, this show would be really kind of boring without CeCe at this point. I personally wouldn't be upset if she even made it to the finale because, well, we all know she's not going to win. It's a 2-way race now. And I'd rather have somebody that's going to make me laugh next week than somebody that'll put me to sleep. LA and Britney flipped their opinions from CeCe's first performance. This time, LA didn't like it, and Britney did. Simon said that he'll miss her if she goes, and so will I. I gotta wonder, though, how many of Demi's fans are voting for CeCe? I say that because on the official site, there's a place where you can tweet the judges, and it has a counter on there of how many tweets they've gotten. LA is at like 300,000, and Britney and Simon are like both between 500,000 and 600,000, and Demi is at like 2 million. Now, granted, a lot of those are probably from people telling her to contour her eyebrows, but that's a lot of tweets. Now, I know the conventional wisdom is that Emblem 3 is getting all the teen girl votes, but Demi Lovato has a lot of teen girl fans that I think might be voting for CeCe just because they like Demi. Next up was Emblem 3. Their unplugged song was Just the Way You Are by Bruno Mars. Now, during rehearsal, the choreographer told them that they need to show a different side of themselves. Well, one of them already did. During the intro, they were out skateboarding, and one of them showed us his butt crack. Crack is for losers. Well, so is skateboarding, actually. No, I thought this was going to be the week that they were going to come out and playing instruments to prove to Demi Lovato that they're more than just a boy band, but only one of them even had an instrument. Drew brought along a guitar, and mostly it just sat there in his lap. He didn't really play it for the most part, but they weren't hopping around like kangaroos like they usually do, so I guess that's a plus. But they sounded terrible. This was their worst performance yet. I thought they were supposed to be improving. That didn't seem like improvement to me, and it seemed like they didn't even let the song in before they spastically started thanking everyone for voting for them. Very annoying. LA said at least one of Simon's groups can sing harmony. Britney thought it was their best performance. Demi thought it was good, but she thinks Simon has turned them into a downgraded version of the Jonas Brothers. Simon called her dumb, but I read in an interview where they basically said the same thing. They admit to being sellouts, and they're doing music that they really don't want to do because Simon thinks it'll help them win, and they truly believe that if they do win, Simon will let them do what they want to do. Not a chance, boys. Their Pepsi Challenge song was Forever Young. Well, it was a lot better than their first performance, but my God, Drew should never, ever, ever sing lead. He is the prettiest guy in the group, but he's by far the worst singer. I thought it was corny the way they kept switching spots to sing lead, and I thought this was a terrible song choice. Well, I know America picked it, but we only had 3 songs to pick from, and this one should have never been on the list, mainly because it's already been covered by One Direction, and this didn't sound much different than their version, and they really do not need to be compared to One Direction. Simon is just recycling ideas because I don't think he really knows what to do with Emblem 3. LA said they nailed it. Britney thought it was a superstar performance, and Demi wants them to work the stage more. Next up was Carly Rae's Sonenclar. Her Unplugged song was As Long As You Love Me by Justin Bieber. She didn't look too thrilled with the song choice, and I can't say I blame her. I don't think a Justin Bieber song is a good fit for anybody, really, but I really don't think it's a good idea for Carly, mainly because even though she's only 13, I think she appeals to the older audience. She probably gets a big portion of the grandma vote, and she should be singing songs that grandma would like. Grandmas know Celine Dion. They know Somewhere Over the Rainbow. They even know Adele. I don't think they know much about Justin Bieber, so I think with this song, Britney is trying to get her to appeal to teenagers, but teenagers are probably pretty unswayable at this point. I don't think they're going to change their minds. It's not a huge deal, though. Carly isn't going to go home because of it, but she might drop to the number 2 spot. She did a great job with it, though, but that just goes without saying. LA loved that she showed restraint. Demi thought it was better than the original, and Simon said he is seeing a star emerge. Mario Lopez said, you took a risk with a Justin Bieber song and it paid off. Mario, we'll see if it paid off when the results come in. Carly's song for the Pepsi Challenge was If I Were a Boy by Beyonce. Once again, it was great. Predictably great, I guess, though. I don't know. I think she's getting a case of what I call the Melinda Doolittle syndrome, in which she's so good every week that it's starting to get boring. I mean, all I could think during this performance was how much more I enjoyed hearing Rachel Crow sing this song last season. I mean, she did a great job with it, but I felt like I should have enjoyed it more than I actually did. I feel like that with most of Carly's performances for some reason. LA is a fan. Demi wants to hear something up-tempo because she's getting a bit predictable, and Simon told her not to listen to Demi. Next up is Fifth Harmony. Their Unplugged song was Set Fire to the Rain by Adele. In the intro, one of the girls says that she thinks they can make it to the top 3, and another girl says she thinks they could win. Well, that got a good laugh out of everybody. I know it got a good laugh out of me. We know they aren't gonna win. They had to rehearse without Allie this week because she was away at her grandfather's funeral, so they spent the better part of the week as Fourth Harmony. Normani was nervous because she had to sing lead for a few seconds, and she isn't used to doing that, but she did it quite nicely. They all did a good job. It was a little boring, but I guess you can't expect them to get up and do backflips during an Unplugged performance. LA went on a harmony tirade and said they should be called Fifth Unison, which I actually think sounds like a better group name, but he decided that he was going to pick on them about their harmonies before they ever sang the first note. He wanted to have something clever to say, so. Britney thought it was good, but she doesn't know what sets them apart from the other girl groups. What girl groups? There aren't any others at the moment, are there? I don't know. And Demi thinks that a couple of them should be solo artists, and I agree with that. I believe it should be a smaller group. The Pepsi Challenge song was Give Your Heart a Break by Demi Lovato. Oh no, not another Demi Lovato song. They've already done one. No, they did a great job with it. It was one of the best performances of the night. I just wish they'd do more. Because if the complaint about Emblem 3 is that they don't work the stage, they work it a hell of a lot more than Fifth Harmony. These girls always stand or sit perfectly evenly spaced out in one spot. Hell, at this point, I'd be just satisfied if they moved closer together. At least it would be something different. LA did hear Harmony this time, and he thought it was their best performance. Demi said that it was better than the original. Isn't it funny how Demi doesn't really like Fifth Harmony, but when they sing her songs, she always says that it's better than the original? Does that mean she doesn't like herself? I don't know. Next up is Diamond White. Her Unplugged song was It's a Man's World, which is a terrible song choice, mainly because we've already heard her sing it before. She sang this song for her audition. I had actually forgotten that until the judges pointed it out. Maybe if she's lucky, the rest of America forgot it too, because this is one of those crowd pleaser songs that people just eat up on these singing shows if it's performed well, and she did perform it very well, especially at the end when she got an attitude and knocked the mic stand over. I thought that was nice. I really liked it. I'm not sure if I'd consider it Unplugged, though, since she was accompanied by a full band, but whatever. LA loved the attitude. Demi thought it was risky, but she pulled it off, and Simon thought it was a little screechy. Diamond's song for the Pepsi Challenge was Diamonds by Rihanna, and she performed it in a huge diamond coming down from the ceiling. It was diamond overkill. A little subtlety would have been nice. This was not her best performance. It wasn't terrible, but it seemed a little flat to me. Not a great song for her, and she needed a great song because she barely survived last week, so she really needed a game changer, and this was not it. I just don't see how she survives this week. LA said he likes her and he likes this song, but he doesn't like her rendition of it. And Demi thought she did it justice. Simon thinks she had a good night overall. I think she's in trouble. And last up is Tate Stevens. L.A. Reid took Tate out for a beer to remind him that he's about to be unemployed and his family's going to go hungry if he doesn't win. I think L.A. Reid is trying to scare him into winning, but he isn't doing him any favors by giving him another Bon Jovi song. Living on a Prayer was Tate's Unplugged song choice this week. I think maybe LA just doesn't know country music, and I guess Bon Jovi is the closest thing that he does know. He really should let Tate pick his own songs, though, because this felt like a really repetitive week. What with Diamond doing a song that she's already done, Fifth Harmony and their second Demi Lovato song, and Tate Stevens with his second Bon Jovi song. Tate did an adequate job with it, but it was a little boring. I think I like the Bon Jovi version better, and I don't even like Bon Jovi. Britney thinks he should be doing country. Demi thought it was boring, and Simon said it was like taking a goldfish for a walk, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. Tate's song for the Pepsi challenge was If Tomorrow Never Comes by Garth Brooks. Perfect song choice for Tate, and a really solid performance. If that, coupled with the pimp spot, doesn't get Tate back in the number 1 spot, then we might as well go ahead and hand the crown to Carly Rose. Brady said now that felt like a Tate Stevens performance. Demi said that she got sleepy with the performance, but that's because she was tired. And Simon said that Tate reminds him of Garth Brooks. Well, they're both husky country singers, and that's about the only thing I see that makes them seem similar. But anyway, that was it for this week. It's really going to be hard to say who goes home because it could really be anybody aside from Carly and Tate. I think Emblem 3 could be in trouble this week because they had terrible performances, and I don't know if they're really solidly in that 3rd spot. Plus, with them coming in at number 3, I don't think their fans are really that concerned to vote for them. Now, Diamond's fans are going to be concerned enough to vote for her since she almost went home last week. CeCe's fans always know she's on the edge of elimination. And Fifth Harmony had a pretty good week, so it's really going to be hard to say. I'm going to say it's going to be Diamond and Fifth Harmony. But if CeCe or Diamond land in the bottom 3, they're out. But I think there's a good chance one of them could land in the top 3. I don't know, it's hard to say, but wouldn't it be so funny if, like, Diamond and Emblem 3 were in the sing-off and Demi sent it to deadlock and then Emblem 3 went home? Simon's head would explode, and I might want to see that. So anyway, leave me a comment and let me know what you thought about the show, who you think's going home, and I'll see you folks tomorrow.